Hey everyone, I just wanted to come on here and share something that God showed me a couple days ago, and I believe it's for me to share with all of you. And this was an interesting one because usually when I get something like this from God, when He shows me something or gives me a word to speak, it's when I'm praying and I'm really quiet and I've been asking Him things. But this was an interesting one because I was at the end of the day, I had been, doing all kinds of different things, working throughout the day, and my wife and I were just about to sit down and watch a show at the end of the night. And I just sensed that God wanted to show me something, wanted to tell me something. And so I got quiet and I closed my eyes while I was sitting there. And this is what He showed me. So I saw a still lake, like a lake that, when you first wake up in the morning and nobody's touched it and it's just completely flat, it's completely still. And and then I saw from my vantage point, like I had picked up a smooth rock and threw it at the lake, like I was skipping it across the lake. And what was really interesting was that the rock never stopped skipping. It just kept going and went all the way across this really big, long lake that I was standing at. And then also the ripples, they never stopped either. It was like almost the reverse of how ripples usually work. It, instead of being the biggest ripples first, it was like it started as small ripples and then it got bigger and bigger and started turning into like waves that would go all the way to the shoreline until the entire lake was just filled up with these ripples and waves, and it was like everything was moving in, like almost like an ocean type of look. And then I saw a portion of the lake that had debris on it, and it looked kind of mucky and gross and had like a stagnant look to it. And the ripples and waves actually ended up pushing all of that stuff off and cleansing the water to where it was clear and beautiful looking. And all that stagnant, gross stuff was just removed. Then I saw another person from a different spot throw another rock and did the exact same thing. Their rock just kept skipping across the whole lake from a different vantage point or from a different angle. And it kept making waves, the ripples, and then turning into waves off of theirs as well. And so uh, I believe that all these things mean is that the rock is what God's people will be doing soon. And just like Philip in the book of Acts, whenever he was helping the Ethiopian guy and he was explaining what these verses of scripture meant. And then suddenly, like after he did this incredible thing, he was found in another place and he was doing another incredible thing. And I believe that's what God's people are going to be doing in this time period, is that we'll be just hitting these incredible events, these incredible things that God has us doing. And then suddenly we're over here doing another thing and then another thing over here. And it just keeps going. And I believe that the smooth rock also has to do with David and relates to that, where he picked up the 5 smooth rocks when he went up against Goliath and in one fell swoop took Goliath out. Like giants in our day and time are coming down. And I believe that we are going to see these events just continue to happen and it will not stop. It's going to keep moving. And the rock not stopping until the end of the lake, I believe that is that, like God's people that are doing these things are not going to just fizzle out. It's not going to be a one and done, but rather they're going to keep moving forward, and these things are going to keep building and growing and going and going. And the ripples turning into waves, I believe, will be like how uh, the stagnancy of things that have built up in this world, people just being in their comfort zone. The waves are going to be building and shaking things up that God's people do in these times, that God has them doing. And it's going to remove the mucky, gross stuff, all the perverted things going on, and cleanse the waters and purify it. We're going to start seeing that stuff just be removed, and for the waters to be how God intended them to be, for our world to look that way. And I also believe that people will have their eyes opened and see that life isn't just about coasting through in lukewarmness, but rather He has so much more for us in these times than we realize. Like we're going to start seeing things like what we read about in the Bible, in the book of Acts, or just all throughout the Bible, these incredible things that God has done, He's going to be doing in our times more and more. And that eyes will be open and see the truth of all this, that it's not just, oh, those things are just in the past. No, God is just as real today, and we're going to see these incredible things and miracles and healings and all of these things, which are already happening right now, but I believe is going to increase more and more. And I believe that the ripples going throughout the whole lake is that this is going to go throughout the whole world. And that the people that He's called to do this won't stop. They're just going to continue to grow bigger and bigger with where they usually would have stopped with these things. It would have not just like stopping the one and done thing I was just saying. And I believe it will encourage others to step up and believe God and keep pressing on and making waves, and for those waves to grow bigger and bigger, and that these will all cleanse the waters as well. And I think our world is going to shift and change from everything that we've ever known. That our culture is never going to go back to the way that it was before. That this is going to remove the blinders off of the world from what people have thought it was for so long. And I believe that this is coming really soon. I believe that these will be world-changing events that will shake the world up, and that we're never going back that way. And honestly, this is really exciting. Also, this reminds me of something that God showed me back in 2021, where he showed me a map of the United States, and then it was kind of like dark, and then suddenly these little lights started popping up in different places all over the map, and it was all over the United States. But a lot of them were on the West Coast. There was a few different dots here and there, just all throughout it, and they were tiny little things. They almost looked like little tiny fires, and the lights started spreading and moving, and it just ended up engulfing the entire United States. And then it actually ended up spreading throughout the entire world. I believe we're going to start seeing this, where God's people are going to be doing these things like the rock skipping across the lake with these events and these incredible moments in time where God is doing these incredible things through his people. And it's going to just cause this revival to spread everywhere. And it's going to just catch on like a wildfire between God's people. And it will bring revival to where people that never even believed will suddenly believe and make Jesus Christ the Lord of their life. I believe that we're going to see this go through the whole world. So these are such exciting times that we live in, guys. I'm just so excited that I believe we are on the precipice of this, that we're so close to these things actually happening, and things that we've prayed about for so many years, things that God has told us is coming for so many years, actually coming to pass here very soon. So let's be praying about this. Let's be just continuing to go to God and ask him for these things, and believe, have faith that he's bringing them to pass, that this is not just a pipe dream, but rather what he said is going to happen. And that's how God works. If he says it, sometimes it takes years for these things to come to pass, but it will come to pass. He is faithful, and he's not going to fail his word. He's not going to fail us. He's not going to just quit. So anyways, I love you guys. I hope this is encouraging to you, and I'll talk to you real soon. God bless you all.